Hey y'all, I am back with a reading on this Kirk Franklin situation. So you know I had to get in on this. So if some of y'all don't know, some more tea has been spilled about Kirk Franklin. A lot of you guys already knew that him and his son had a falling out, or they've already been, dealing with conflict for years. And they had a heated conversation, and his son, Carrion, his oldest son, recorded that conversation. And Kirk Franklin was threatening him and he was cursing him out and stuff like that. And then Kirk Franklin turned around and posted a video where he was basically apologizing to his fans. And I guess I don't know if he's a minister or what, but we're going to read a little bit about Kirk Franklin before we get into his chart. But he made an apology not to his son, but he made a public apology to his fans for getting out of character, so to speak, I guess. But he was basically just explaining that him and his son have always had a strained relationship, and he's tried to get his son help, and he even tried to get the family therapist on the phone while they were having that heated conversation and all this stuff. Now, Carrion is coming with a different side of the story. And the underlying issue is money, financial support. So basically, Carrion is in need of financial support. And, well, according to him, he's in need of financial support. And his father, Kirk Franklin, is being resistant. I guess his father's tired of supporting him in his adult age. Now, Carrion will be 33 this year. So he is at that age where he shouldn't be dependent upon his father. But, sometimes circumstances happen. And some real circumstances happen in this young boy's life, or I'll say in his life when he was young. Now, let me just pull up just a little bio on Kirk Franklin before we get into the nitty gritty. Now, Kirk Franklin is an Aquarius, so just keep that in mind as we get into his bio. So Kirk Dwayne Franklin, born January 26, 1970, is an American choir director, gospel musician, singer, songwriter, and author. So he's multi-talented. He is best known for leading urban contemporary gospel choirs such as The Family, God's Property, and One Nation Crew, among many others. He has won numerous awards, including 16 Grammy Awards. Variety dubbed Franklin as a reigning king of urban gospel. Early life. A native of Fort Worth, Texas, Franklin was raised by his aunt Gertrude, having been abandoned as a baby by his mother. Gertrude recycled aluminum cans to raise money for Kirk to take piano lessons from the age of 4. Kirk excelled and was able to read and write music while also playing by ear. That's his Aquarius energy right there. At the age of 7, Franklin received his first contract which his aunt turned down. He did join the church choir and became music director of Mount Rose Baptist Church adult choir at 11 years of age. In his teenage years, Franklin rebelled against his strict religious upbringing, Aquarius, and in an attempt to keep him out of trouble, his grandmother arranged an audition for him at a professional youth conservatory associated with a local university. He was accepted, but later he had to deal with a girlfriend's pregnancy and his eventual expulsion from school for bad behavior. Now, while I'm reading this, let me just pull up a picture of Kirk Franklin, because right now y'all looking at that green screen image. Let me just pull up a picture of him, just so y'all can get a good look. And that is not a very flattering picture of him. Let me just stop. Let me stop. Okay. Kirk Franklin. Lately, he's been going through something that's really got him down. Yeah, so he going through it right now. We're going to look at his transits too. I don't know if I'm going to make this into a 2-part video. I might if I start to get kind of tired. So, yeah. So let me just pull up a picture of him. And so you can just put a face to the bio. I'm just waiting for this to pull up. I can't explain it. I can't contain it. Jesus, your love is so amazing. It gets me high up to the sky. And when I think about your goodness, it makes me wanna stop. Now he wanted to stomp Kerrion, his son, out for getting buck with him on the phone like that. But yeah, let me continue on with this bio. Now, okay, so let me just back up. In his teenage years, Franklin rebelled against his strict religious upbringing, and in an attempt to keep him out of trouble, his grandmother arranged an audition for him at a professional youth conservatory associated with a local university. He was accepted, but later he had to deal with a girlfriend's pregnancy and his eventual expulsion from school for bad behavior. Franklin studied music with Jewel Kelly and singing chaparrals at Oscar Dean Wyatt High School. He continued under her tutelage and ultimately became the pianist for the choir. When he was age 15, he witnessed the death of a friend by shooting, after which Franklin returned to the church, where he again directed the choir. He also co-founded a gospel group, the Humble Hearts, which recorded one of Franklin's compositions, and he got the attention of gospel music legend Milton Bigham, musical director of the Georgia Mass Choir. Impressed, Bigham enlisted him to lead the DFW Mass Choir in a recording of Franklin's song Every Day with Jesus. This led to Bigham hiring Franklin, just 20 years old at the time, to lead the choir at the 1990 Gospel Music Workshop of America convention, an industry gathering. So we don't got to get into his professional background, but let's just talk about what made him popular. So in 1993, the group, now known as Kirk Franklin and the Family, released their debut album, Kirk Franklin and the Family. It spent almost 2 years on the gospel music charts and charted on the R&B charts, eventually earning platinum sales status. It remained at #1 on the Billboard Top Gospel Albums chart for 42 weeks. It was the first gospel music album to sell over 1 million units. So Kirk Franklin is very accomplished, very successful as a gospel musician. Now, 2 years later, after releasing a 1995 Christmas album entitled Kirk Franklin and the Family Christmas, the group released What You're Looking For in 1996. The album was certified 2 times platinum and earned Franklin his first Grammy Award for Best Contemporary Soul Gospel Album. 1997 brought another album, a collaboration with the vocal ensemble God's Property, aptly named God's Property from Kirk Franklin's New Nation. The lead single, Stomp, featuring Cheryl Salt James of Salt and Pepper, was a big hit, enjoying heavy rotation on MTV and other music channels and charting at #1 on the R&B singles airplay chart for 2 weeks, even making it to the top 40. Now, a lot of people know Kirk Franklin from this song, this single, Stomp. And Salt was in there from Salt and Pepper. I remember I used to love that song. I was just singing it. Lately, I've been going through something that's really got me down. So yeah, that was the shit. All my people say, stop. All my friends say, stop. My cousins say, stop. My son say, stop. Yeah, so yeah. Now, in 1996, Franklin's song Joy was recorded by Whitney Houston and the Georgia Mass Choir. So that composition ended up on the soundtrack to the movie Preacher's Wife. So moving along, let's get into his personal situation. On January 20th, 1996, Franklin married longtime friend Tammy Collins, friend Aquarius. When they wed, they each had 1 child from previous relationships. Franklin's son Carrion, born in 1988, and Collins' daughter, Carrington, whom Franklin legally adopted, born in 1989. As a couple, they have 2 children together, and a daughter named Kennedy and a son named Keziah. Carrington became engaged to Max Nakawasha in October 2015. In 2005, Franklin appeared with his wife on the Oprah Winfrey Show to discuss how he ended his pornography addiction. All right, so let's make a segue over into his chart. before we get into this current situation that he is going through. And I'm going to point to some of his accomplishments by some of the aspects in his chart. So here's Kirk Franklin's chart. Unfortunately, I don't have his birth time, but as you can see, he has Sun conjunct Venus in Aquarius. That's great for music production. That's great for composing music. So you could basically say Aquarius is the composer of the zodiac. So that Sun conjunct Venus, that's just perfect for music in general, a musical career. It means that he's very creative. He's very artistic. So he has Sun trine Uranus in Libra, and that points to him having the gospel groups and, you know, just teaming up with others. So he's really good with that. Also, he has, what else is going on with that Sun in terms of his strengths? So right now I'm just looking at his strengths. He got Mercury in Capricorn. That can make him very disciplined, and it's in sextile with that Pisces North Node. So that's perfect for music career, especially in terms of writing songs, and also him basically being like a choir director and all that. Basically doing the administrative things in terms of music, and in his particular case, the gospel music. He also has Mercury trine South Node in Virgo, so that can make him a perfectionist when it comes to his craft, when it comes to his art. He's very meticulous when it comes to writing and music, and also you could even say when it comes to performances and him planning and things like that. He's really good at like planning events and all that good stuff. Let's see what else he got that makes him either exceptional or famous. He got Mars conjunct Chiron, and that points to him being an award-winning artist. And also it's in trine with that Neptune, so that's the musical connection, but also the gospel connection because Neptune's in Sagittarius. So that Mars conjunct Chiron, that's the awards, and also that could deal with where he's broken some records as a gospel musician, which he has. Let's see what else is going on with his chart. So basically, those are pointing to his strengths. So we're going to get into his weaknesses when we get into this current scandal that's going down. Also, like I said, him being married to his friend, they started off as friends. That's very Sun conjunct Venus. But what that can also produce is a relationship of convenience. More about that in a minute. Now, let's shimmy on over to this latest story involving Kirk Franklin. So like I said, Kirk Franklin has already been in the news because of that phone call that was released. It was only a snippet of it that his son released, but basically he caught Kirk Franklin, his father, in a compromising position because Kirk Franklin is supposed to be this godly man. He's a gospel singer, all that type of stuff. And he basically, you know, just lost his head during that conversation. I don't know if I don't want to play the audio because I'm not trying to get a copyright strike, but you can just Google it and you can listen to it for yourself. But here's the latest. So it says Kirk Franklin's eldest son, Kerrion, allegedly called gospel singer his molester, reveals new audio leak. In the leaked audio during a conversation with his friends, Kerrion claimed that he's the son of a famous person. Later, when Kirk's music was played, he said, "Thanks for playing my molester's music." Now, let me just say that I always thought Kirk Franklin was suspect, and I know some of y'all feel the same way. I always thought he was gay, and he was just masquerading as a straight man. Now, I'm not equating him molesting his son to the whole gay thing, because you can have straight men. There's plenty of straight men that molest their sons or molest boys or whatever. But I mean, it's still same sex. But basically, I always kind of looked at Kirk Franklin with that side eye. I'll just say that. So let me read on. Now it says gospel musician Kirk Franklin's relationship with his son Carrion Franklin has been the talk on social media for a while now. Kirk had recently come under fire for a heated argument with his estranged son. Now, just having Sun in Aquarius alone, that can manifest as an estranged child, a relationship that is strained or where there's a separation that occurs. And now a new audio tape makes shocking revelations about Kirk allegedly molesting his son Carrion. Kirk had recently given an interview amidst the scandal surrounding his oldest son, in which he denied any and all claims of physical abuse. Following this, an audio leak is now shedding new light on their relationship. Kirk is allegedly a molester, quote unquote. YouTuber Armand Wiggins shared a video on Thursday, March 18th, 18, that can deal with molestation, sexual abuse, in which he revealed a receipt he got where someone who said his name is Kerrion referred to Kirk as his molester. The audio was recorded at a hostel in Los Angeles during 2020 on Christmas Day, according to the information Armand received from his source. In the leaked audio during a conversation with his friends, Carrion claimed that he's the son of a famous person. Later, when Kirk's music was played, he said, "Thanks for playing my molester's music." Armand did, however, add a disclaimer to his video saying that all claims are alleged. While there are no comments on this latest leak, in an interview with Tamron Hall, where he appeared with his wife Tammy the Stepford wife, Kirk publicly addressed his relationship with his 33-year-old son for the first time since the video was shared. He had previously taken to Instagram to issue an apology. During the interview, he spoke about the challenges of their toxic, challenging, turbulent relationship and how it was evident early on that there was a need for deeper help. Now that he's about to be 33, as a grown man, the relationship at times can become very agitated and very frustrated. But I'm not going to stop trying to help, Kirk said. He's my son. He's my firstborn. And I never want, first of all, other people are picking up on this too. Why is Kirk Franklin stressing he's about to turn 33? That's not a milestone age. But we know that's a Masonic number. Okay, let's continue on. So Kirk said, he's my son, he's my firstborn, and I never want him to feel what I felt not having a father. It's important for me because what if that call is the call that things change? He had even assured viewers that there has been no physical or parental abuse. In the Instagram video he shared, Kirk apologized, saying, "Recently, my son and I had an argument that he chose to record. I felt extremely disrespected in that conversation, and I lost my temper, and I said words that are not appropriate. I sincerely sorry to all of you." Oh, he said, "I am sincerely sorry to all of you. I sincerely apologize." It's hard for me to quote a liar's words. I'm sorry. Maybe I could get away with playing this. Let's see if I could get away with playing this. Wait a minute, hold up. Hold up, I gotta add the audio. Okay, my bad. I should be all right, I think, for just including a few seconds of this.
Had a toxic relationship with him as a family. We've tried for many years through counseling, through therapy, to try to rectify this private family matter. Recently, my son and I had an argument that he chose to record. I felt extremely disrespected in that conversation, and I lost my temper. And I said words that are not appropriate. And I'm sincerely sorry to all of you. I sincerely apologize. I want you to know as a father that during that conversation, I called the family therapist and got that therapist on the phone to try to help. He never played that part of the recording.
I heard the therapist is TD Jakes.
I'm human and I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm trying to get
TD Jakes trying to do some damage control. He know what's up.
In your prayers.
He know what's up. All right. Now, let's go to Kirk Franklin's chart. Now, I did find a birthday for Carrion Franklin. I found March 7th, 1988. So we're going to go with that. And when I looked at his chart, it does really fit. And I think we will do a 2-part video. I don't know. I'm going to see. Because I also want to pull their synastry and see how that's looking. So let me share my screen. We're going to go back to Kirk Franklin's chart, and we're going to look at some of his more questionable aspects. So again, here's Kirk Franklin's chart. So he has that Sun and Venus, 6th degree of Aquarius. That's the music, him being a composer, producer, but that can also be an indicator for homosexuality. You got gay men that have that aspect, just Sun conjunct Venus alone, because that means they're very in touch with their femininity. It can also denote an attraction to men. And the fact that it's in Aquarius, that exacerbates that situation. That Sun conjunct Venus in Aquarius could manifest as a beard. So his wife could be his beard, could be the relationship of convenience that I spoke of previously. Now, that also makes me think of that lip gloss he was wearing in that smile video. Let me see if I can pull up an image of that. Because that, I mean, and I was even wondering, like, why was it necessary that he had to have that pink lip gloss? Because this shit is just so, like, let me get a good pic. I'm just like, come on now. We're going to look at this one. He's definitely into looking a little glammed up, as I'll say. He can't help it. He got Mercury semi-square Neptune. He can't help but to be a little glammed up and put a little lip gloss on and have that lip gloss be popping. All right, let me just title this lip gloss and let me pull this up. Some of y'all remember that smile video. That was the first thing I noticed when I saw that video, and it kind of made me uncomfortable because, you know, Kirk Franklin, he basically comes across, or he tries to portray himself as a straight man. But that lip gloss is popping, though. I mean, where he get that pretty color from? Sephora, Ulta? Let me know. All right. So, yeah. Let's go back to his chart. Okay. So, like I said, he has that Sun, Venus conjunction in Aquarius. Now, that can also deal with having a child that's entitled to his money, or that feels entitled to his money, because Aquarius is a sign of entitlement. Then we look to that square to Saturn. Sun and Venus are squaring Saturn. That right there is reinforcing the Sun having a sense of entitlement, and where Kirk Franklin has a serious problem with that. Also, that could show where Kirk Franklin could be stingy towards his children, or his one son in particular, and his son being a Taurus fits this square. Also, this can point to where Kirk Franklin is phony. Also, he could be unloving with that square with Saturn. He could be mean. That could point to issues with his own father, and he did say he didn't have a father growing up. Also, that reinforces his 8 energy. So Kirk Franklin is an 8 in terms of birth number. He's also an 8 in terms of life path number. That 26 points to partnerships. So to me, because he's an Aquarius, that reinforces the fact that his wife is a beard, because 26 can produce challenges with partnerships, especially in terms of being your own individual. Now, moving along. Also, he has Venus parallel the fixed star Castra, and that can manifest as destructiveness and an uncontrolled temper. So remember, he admitted that he lost his temper during that phone call, and this is directed towards his son, of course. Also, we want to look at his sun squaring Jupiter in Scorpio. That one is a very questionable aspect, but he's already admitted to being hypersexual with the porn addiction, because that can be a hypersexual aspect, to the point where his sexual appetites, his sexual urges start to impact his life, start to take away from the quality of his life. He starts to maybe not even spend time with his children because he's too busy jacking off the porn. Now, that can also cause him to be extravagant. It can also deal with him being indebted to someone, and that is his son. Also, this can manifest as sexual abuse of a child. So there it is right there. And this square is included in this T-square aspect pattern. So with Carrion claiming that Kirk Franklin is his molester, his own father. This T-square is representing his allegations. Now, I'm not saying it's true, but the potential is there. All right. Now, also, this can point to blackmail, this T-square situation, especially because of Jupiter involved. Jupiter deals with the truth. He doesn't want the truth to get out, so he has to pay his son money. Now, Sun and Venus are conjoined to the asteroid Sisyphus, which can represent the payments that he has to send his son and how he is growing tired of it. And it's like punishment. That Sisyphus is punishment. So it's showing that Kerrion is punishing his father by making him send him money all the time. Venus and Sun opposition Pandora. Pandora is about secrets getting out or harmful information being leaked, and that cannot be put back. Or where, you have some damning information against someone and you're threatening to release it. And that can also just deal with the leaked audio that's already been, 2 leaked audios. So first the phone call, and then also the leaked audio where he was saying, my father's my molester or whatever. Kirk Franklin also has Jupiter conjunct Arachne. So that points to perhaps him being part of a sex ring or benefiting from that sex ring, prostitution network, child trafficking network, perhaps, because Jupiter is the trafficking planet. Scorpio, sex, also taboos. His Saturn is running parallel to the asteroid Atlantis, and that can deal with where Kirk Franklin is dreading something. He's fearing something. He's living his life in fear of something being revealed, perhaps. Let me see where Atlantis is at. Atlantis is back to you. Atlantis is in Leo, 24th degree of Leo. Children, it's back to you. See how your dirt comes back to you? That's what that song was really about. His son was saying, I'll always come back to you. Or he was saying, this shit gonna come back to you. Yes, come back to you. So yeah, Kirk Franklin, wow. And the fact that the South Node is in Sagittarius right now, transiting South Node, a lot of religious people, members of the clergy, gospel singers, all these type of priests are going to be put on blast during this time. It's hunting season for them. Okay, we also got his Mars opposing both Pluto and Uranus. Now that is a very, very questionable aspect right there, but let's back up and talk about his Mars conjunct Chiron in Aries. Now that can cause him to be a sexual deviant. Also, you can look at it as hurt people hurt people. So I think Kirk Franklin did mention that he was sexually abused when he was younger. So this could be a case where he was sexually abused and he turns around and sexually abuses others. Now, that Mars conjunct Chiron also can make him a loose cannon. And, that's the abuse, the wounds being inflicted. It can also make him very hard-headed when it comes to sex. Like he'll be doing these impulsive things sexually and then he'll, hard-headed with it. Like he doesn't learn his lessons. Now, Mars is at the 1st degree of Aries. That 1st degree can deal with a child. Mars opposition Pluto. That's where he could be looking for sex, on the prowl for sex. Also, that can make him predacious, being a sexual predator. Also, where he's looking for youth in particular or innocence because of that Virgo influence. Pluto is in Virgo. His moon is in Virgo. So, he might even put together a little youth choir just so he can have direct access to some of these young boys. Also, this can deal with him being undercover about his sexuality and going to like hidden spots in different areas. Maybe even if he got to travel outside the country. I mean, he does have Jupiter squaring his sun, and we know he's a traveler anyway because he's a major gospel singer. Also, that could deal with where he is being exposed at some point by his son in this case. And look, I said Mars is at the first degree of Aries. Also, that's him being condemned, and condemnation for it coming out that he molested his son. Also, this could deal, remember, I could have added this to my demonic and depraved series because he got some demonic attachments, demonic influence. Sun square Jupiter in Scorpio. That's like demonic attachment. And then he got Mars opposition Pluto. That's like demonic influence. And that's where he willfully, because Mars is in Aries, he willfully gives himself over to these demonic influences. But yeah, this is somebody that could be constantly on the prowl for sex, and they're so locked into their own lust that they have that tunnel vision when it comes to lust, meaning like he's always scoping people out. Like when he's around a crowd of people, when he's on stage, he's looking in the audience for some pretty young thing that he might want to invite backstage and invite to his hotel room after the performance. So this is somebody where all they see in front of them is sex, whether it's dick, booty holes, vaginas, whatever. Well, we know in Kirk Franklin's case, or we can assume in Kirk Franklin's case, is penis, balls, and booty holes. All right. Now, and again, Virgo, Pluto and Virgo, that's virginal. So he might purposely be going after virgins or people or young people because of the innocence. That can deal with the destruction of innocence. Now, his Mars is running parallel to the fixed star Zenaya, and that can manifest as adultery and prostitution. So again, Mars opposition Pluto, he be on the prowl. He be going to these little haunts, these little hideaways, maybe even hostels or whatever. They hang out, gay bathhouses, whatever, getting his knob slob. That make me think of a glory hole right there. He be sticking his dick in them glory holes, getting his knob slobbed and all that stuff. He into it deep. All right. He got Mercury semi-square Neptune, and that can point to addiction issues. That's pointing to his addiction to porn in particular. That could point to him being a liar and him having to lie to protect his reputation because Mercury's in Capricorn. And that points to him being a hypocrite because Neptune's in Sagittarius. Secrets, lies to protect his reputation again. And that's where he's using his church life or being associated with the church as a facade for his satanic mindset, because that Mercury's in Capricorn. Now, I'm not saying that everybody with Mercury in Capricorn is going to have a satanic mindset, but if we associate that Mercury with who Kirk Franklin is and these current allegations, then yes, we could safely assume that that Mercury in Capricorn is translating into a satanic mindset. So, and he has thrown up some of them Baphomets and 3/6s and stuff like that. So he is in the industry. And I don't care if it's the gospel industry, it falls under the music industry, and it's all demonically influenced. All right, moving along. He has another troublesome aspect that is a very big red flag that I warn people against. If you find this in a potential mate's chart, Mercury square Mercury square Uranus. That can make him have a unstable mind, mental instability, where he switches up on people. He snaps on people like he snapped on his son. I mean, can just have a nervous disposition. He can have freakouts. Like, let me tell you what I mean about this aspect. You know how like pressure could be building. Like, let's say like it's a nightclub situation. And you know how pressure is building. Tempers are flaring. A fight is about to break out. And let's say two people start fighting. Well, he'll be one of the random observers that just takes a chair and breaks it over somebody's back just because he got to get in on the action, just because he's affected like that. Like, he's the type that's just going to go crazy in the midst of already chaos. Like, that's just going to fuel his fire to just act even crazier. And he got that Mars conjunct Chiron. And that could just make him very deviant in terms of his mindset too. That now, not for everybody, because it could play out in different ways, but for him, that could deal with where he has a perverted mindset, perverted mind. And like I said, with that Mars opposition Pluto, he's the type that's always scoping people out, or he's always surveying the crowd. Surveillance is very Mars opposition Pluto. He's always surveilling the crowd to see if he could find a pretty young thing to take home tonight. He also got that Mars opposition Uranus, and that can deal with where he sets people against him. It can also deal with where he goes against society in some type of way, and where, in this case, Mars and Aries, his sexuality, like that can be a sexually deviant aspect too, and where he is a part of a certain segment of the population that is into some type of perversion. You could say it like that, but that does deal with where he will set people against him. He's the type of person that will cut somebody off out of his life abruptly if they're not doing what he wants them to do. So that already occurred with his son, Carrion, but he could do that with other people as well. And that right there can deal with a fraudulent marriage, or a marriage that's phony, that's artificial, because Uranus is in Libra. And again, that could be a beard aspect. That could deal with, again, he's living like an artificial life. His identity is not real. He has this identity that will switch. Also, that's an aspect of depersonalization as well. And he might have to depersonalize people in order to commit his egregious sexual acts upon them. Now, he also has Mercury conjunct Vega, which deals with double dealing. So like I said, he has this one persona that's this gospel singer. He's all into Jesus and the church and all that. But then he be stomping in the gay clubs and in the hostels, and he probably be going to Thailand and getting them young boys and all that type of stuff. So yeah. Let's see what else he got. Now that South Node in Virgo, that South Node at the 13th degree of Virgo makes me think that something happened when he was age 13 that could have been a sexual experience, maybe at the hands of somebody that was in charge of him, a guardian or whatever. When I also see this Mercury square Uranus, it also makes me think of the aunt situation, because there's this video that I watched last night, and this woman was on it. And she even said some things that at first I was like, wait a minute, that's a bit too far-fetched. But then when I was looking at this chart, and then when I looked at Carrion's chart especially, I was like, yo, I think she really might be on to something. But yeah, there's something up with his aunt, the one that raised him. I'll just put it there. He might have been molested by his aunt. Might have been some inappropriate contact going on, Kirk Franklin and his aunt. But that South Node 13 degree Virgo is the sign of the guardian. So that could be somebody that's a parental guardian. So there could be some issues there. 13th degree especially, because that 13 can deal with death, destruction. Now he did, remember they said that he lost a friend. And that 13 degree does deal with friendship. It also deals with death. So that can also deal with that being part of his karma as well. Now his South Node is running parallel to Bellatrix, and that points to sudden dishonor. Another thing about that 13, maybe that's the age that he's really attracted to boys. Maybe that's the age that Kerrion was when his father allegedly molested him. Again, these are just allegations. Now let's get into Kerrion's chart. Now Kerrion, I don't know, like his birthday hasn't been confirmed, but this is the birthday I found, May 7th, 1988. Again, of course, I don't have his birth time, but that doesn't matter with the aspects I found. Now, Kirk Franklin is going to turn 33 this year. So he's not 33 yet, but it's interesting that his father was stressing this 33. And with Kirk Franklin's son and Venus being at the 6th degree, and that 33 breaks down to that. Oh, and did I not forget to mention that? I did forget to mention this. Sun square Saturn can deal with the death of a child. Sun square Jupiter and Scorpio, that can deal with the death of a child, but where a child is murdered and may be murdered for speaking the truth. This is just speculation on my part, but we're going to wait and see. Carrion needs to watch his back. That's all I'm saying. Now, Carrion, his life path number is 11, breaks down to 2. That 11 produces conflict, especially within family, home, things like that. Also could produce conflict with his mother as well. His mother doesn't seem wrapped too tight either with that Elvira wig she had on. You need to check that out. Now, he got Sun conjunct Jupiter, which does point to his father being religious, because the sun represents fathers. Also, that points to him being brought up with the gospel music, and his father being a gospel musician. But that also points to him putting his father on blast. And also, it deals with issues with the truth regarding his father. And it points to his father being wealthy, especially because of that Taurus influence. Here is the nail in the coffin for me. Here is the, what would you call this? This is the damning evidence for me astrologically. Kerrion has Jupiter conjoined to the asteroid Hebe. And if you see my other videos, you know what I say about this asteroid. It is an indicator for child predators, for pedophiles. So yeah, he has Jupiter conjoined to Hebe. And with that Jupiter being connected to his father, that could be where his father is attracted to children. His father could be a child predator, but this could mean that Carrion could be one as well. And what's interesting is the video that I saw last night showed Carrion wearing this hat that has a pedo symbol on it. This shit gets deep, y'all. The rabbit hole gets deep. It's deeper. Now, Sun conjunct Jupiter opposing Pluto in Scorpio. That's Carrion exposing his father. Also, that's showing that he has hatred and resentment towards his father. That points to the financial support that he's expecting from his father. And that shows that he has his father by the balls. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. All right, now, a father who is demonically influenced, sex demon in particular, also being caught up in a standoff with his father. But as you can see, Carrion is influenced by a sex demon as well. They could have a family curse going on. Now, also, Pluto is opposing the asteroid Phaethon. And again, that could be murder at the hands of his father. This is just speculation, but the potential is there. Now, because Phaethon is about a myth where he killed his son. Now, Pluto is running contra-parallel to Demeter, and that makes me think of the situation with his mother and custody issues, and also maybe issues with support from his mother. Demeter is at the 18th degree of Cancer. There's something up with his mother, and that 18th degree can deal with sexual abuse. But also that Demeter influence could deal with where his mother gave him over to his father, and that's how, situations like that happen. Sun is opposing Psyche. Psyche is an asteroid that can pertain to kidnapping, but it can also deal with where you are kind of reserved for someone and you're not able to deal with anybody else. It can also deal with where you feel like you can't find love or you are unlovable. It also can deal with rejection as well, and trust issues and physical abuse, wounds, sexual wounds in this case, because Psyche is in Scorpio, sexual wounds that don't heal. That's what Psyche can deal with. Now, Sun square Mars. This is the one that's really, this is another nail in the coffin for me, especially because Carrion's Mars is in Aquarius. This can represent a perverted father, sexual abuse at the hands of a father, down low father, also where Carrion feels entitled to his father's money and where he has the ability to anger his father. Also, that Sun-Jupiter conjunction is in sesqui square with Saturn and Uranus in Capricorn. Saturn and Uranus is retrograde, which is exacerbating issues with the father. Also, so this is showing where he has to pay his son hush money, in my opinion, because of Capricorn. The Capricorn is shut the fuck up. That's what it is. Shut the fuck up. I'm going to keep on paying you, but just keep your goddamn mouth shut about this shit. So again, that's him having to pay his son hush money to preserve his reputation and career. That's Capricorn. But with the sesqui square, that's where it's never enough. His son just keeps demanding more and more money. And that can represent the blackmail with the Jupiter influence. Also, Kerrion's Mars is forming a quincunx with his South Node in Virgo. Now, you notice that they both have Virgo South Nodes, which is pointing to the 18-year difference between the two of them. And with that 18-year difference, it's showing that, yes, Carrion is part of Kirk Franklin's karmic debt. So with that, the perversion or destruction of innocence, that's that Mars quincunx South Node in Virgo. Also, the pedo hat that he was wearing on his head, that Carrion was wearing on his head, that makes me think of that. Issues with sexuality, tries to act straight, but sometimes the gayness might slip out of him. Also, that shows that Carrion could be into cross-dressing, also could be attracted to transgender individuals. A naked man who lacked modesty. That's how I see that quincunx as well. So that could be Kirk Franklin always walking around Carrion naked, because Mars in Aquarius can be a naked man. Mars is at the 20th degree, so that could be a naked man in the family, naked man roaming around the house with his penis just swinging. Mars is conjoined to the asteroid Proserpina, and that is an indicator for rape. And Chiron is running contra-parallel to the asteroid Proserpina. That's an indicator for rape, also kidnapping. Venus, this is a very terrible one and a very telltale sign of abuse. Venus is conjoined to Chiron, 26 degree. Remember, Kirk Franklin has that 26 birth number, 26 degree of Gemini. When I see that as funny money. So that could be that hush money, especially because Venus and Chiron are opposing Saturn and Uranus. That can also deal with inappropriate touching because Chiron deals with the hands. So when you put that opposition into perspective, that could deal with inappropriate touching by the father. Saturn is representing the father. And with Saturn conjoined to Uranus, that could be a perverted father. Also, this could be the mental wounds that were inflicted upon Carrion. Also, this could point to a strange relationship between father and him and his father. Maybe even an incestuous relationship with his father, where at some point it was carrying on when Carrion became the age of adulthood. Now, this is what came up in that video I saw last night. Now, I got to remember let me tell you what this channel is, because you can check out this video yourself. This shit blew my mind when she said incestuous, where she said it started to be consensual. And I was like, nah, this is just sexual abuse. But then when I looked at the chart with that Gemini influence, I'm like, that could be incest. When you got that Venus conjoined to Chiron in Gemini, that could be an incestuous relationship. So I was like, yo. And other people in the comment section, they were jumping on her too, talking about, how can you say this is consensual? Because this is between father and son, and it's automatically abuse. Now, I'm not saying that. What I'm also saying is, of course, if it's consensual, when Carrion becomes an adult, it's still a product of abuse, because Kirk Franklin fucked Carrion's head up. So her channel is called Investigation Celebrity, and her channel is deep. Now, some of what she's saying you might see as a little far-fetched or whatever. It's a conspiracy channel, but check it out, Investigation Celebrity. She has a video about this. It's one of the more recent videos. And let me see what she titled it. She said, there's something wrong with the Franklins, or something like, what's up with the Franklins? Oh, and we go and get into this Oprah Winfrey situation, this house arrest situation too. But I might just reserve that for my Patreon channel. So if you haven't become a Patreon member yet, definitely want to do so. It's going to be in the description section of this video. So sign up for my Patreon today, because I am putting some really good content out there, some content that I can't really put on YouTube because it might get removed because it's that controversial. Now, I did a Little Nas X video. It was rather brief for my Patreon. So if you want to see my Little Nas X video where I get into his chart, you can become a patron and you'll have access to that video as well. Now, that Venus conjunct Chiron, going back to that, Chiron is contra-parallel Proserpina, like I said, and that can represent rape. Venus conjoined to Chiron, square North Node in Pisces. That could deal with him being touched in his sleep, perhaps, and also being woke up out of his sleep by Kirk Franklin, and Kirk Franklin is touching him inappropriately, and he's waking up that way. Also, this can point to secret being outed to the media, also the phone recordings, lies, victimization, shame, embarrassment, humiliation, mental health issues, also him being triggered by hearing his dad's music. Also, perhaps he's into watching torture porn or incest porn, because that deviant Chiron is in the mix. Now, his North Node is conjoined to Hera, so that could deal with jealousy, vindictiveness. And again, that kind of points to that incestuous thing, like maybe Kirk Franklin chose some other dude over Kerrion, and now he's giving this other dude money, and now Kerrion got a serious problem with that. Hence, North Node could join to Hera. And with that North Node in Pisces, that could be that secret thing going on, but also him blackmailing him again. Also, the North Node is conjoined to Persephone, another asteroid that deals with rape. Venus is conjoined to Chiron, square South Node in Virgo. That can point to inappropriate contact and mental health issues that has stemmed from a relationship where wounds were inflicted. Venus conjunct Chiron, sesqui square Pluto. That can manifest as sexual abuse that is ongoing, that is chronic because of Pluto and Virgo. Also, a taboo relationship could also involve a sibling, relatives. So maybe it was more than just Kerrion Franklin involved. And then also where he's exposed to dirty magazines. Because of the Chiron influence, is showing where some of the dirty magazines, Gemini's magazines, some of the publications he was exposed to was probably some of the most debauched, deviant type of sexual acts. All right, let's pull up this Synastry and see if we see any signs of sexual abuse between their charts. This shit is deep, y'all. But I'm not surprised because this shit happens, especially, first of all, it happens commonly in regular families, but even more so with people in the industry. All right, so I want to put Carrion's across. So let's do Carrion's across because I want to look at Kirk Franklin like going down. Not literally, but you know what I mean. So we're going to put Carrion and then put Kirk Franklin going down. Okay. Let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. So first I'm looking for Mars. Kirk Franklin's Mars is squaring Carrion's Venus. That could point to abuse right there. And Carrion's Venus is in Gemini. That could point to that inappropriate incestual relationship. Also, Kirk's Mars is squaring Carrion Saturn. So that's like Carrion putting a stop to Kirk Franklin's advances at some point, limiting him. Also, Kirk Franklin's Mars is squaring Uranus, Carrion's Uranus. So that could deal with a perverted relationship, but also where there's a separation that occurs and also serious upset, and it could involve sexual activity. Pluto, let's see, Kirk's, this K is getting to me. Kirk's Mars, so is squaring Carrion's Chiron. That's sexual wounding right there, deviant sexual activity, and his Chiron is in Gemini. So again, his Mars is linking up with that sexual deviance, that perhaps incestual relationship. Kirk Franklin's Saturn is squaring Carrion's moon, but we don't know how close that is because we don't have that birth time. Kirk Franklin's Neptune is opposing Carrion's Mercury. So that's like Kirk having these secrets and Carrion releasing them through the phone, through the audio, all that type of stuff. Kirk Franklin's Pluto is squaring Kerrion's Venus. So that's the indebtedness with the money situation, and that can be part of the whole blackmail thing and the undercover, and also abuse. The incestual situation as well. Kirk Franklin's Pluto is squaring Carrion's Saturn. So again, that's Carrion trying to put a stop to this abuse, and the Uranus involved as well. That's the upsets with the sexual abuse going on. I mean, it's very evident when you look at this synastry. Let's see what else. Venus squared Jupiter, and Kirk Franklin's Venus is squaring Carrion's Pluto. That's Carrion exposing Kirk Franklin in terms of his attractions and also the money situation. That's him forcing him to give up the money, leaning on him all the time. I mentioned the Mars square Chiron. They're in a South Node relationship with Kirk Franklin's moon being conjoined to Carrion's South Node. So this is definitely Carrion dealing with some karmic debt through his father, and also that innocence theme playing out. And the help theme, that's him seeking constant help from his father, and where his father is losing his mind over it. Also, look at this. Remember, Kirk Franklin had that Jupiter in Scorpio is conjoined to Carrion's Pluto. So that alone, that could deal with sexual abuse as well, where Kirk Franklin's sexual urge is extended to Kerrion's. So y'all see this stuff? This shit is crazy. But I'm not surprised, because that's how some of these people get down. Kirk Franklin's Chiron is squaring Carrion's Venus, so that's wounds that Kirk Franklin is inflicting upon Carrion, and that's messing up his ability to be in normal relationships. But that can also deal with where they're in a very weird but also strained relationship. But again, that can reinforce that incestual relationship theme. Carrion, I keep getting these K's. Kirk's Chiron is squaring Carrion's Saturn. So this is like where Carrion's saying, like, you weren't even a father to me. You was more of like, you was a thorn in my side. You was a cancer to me, or you was this just this threat. You wasn't even the father that I needed. And again, that's like Carrion trying to put a stop to Kirk's abuse, the wounds that he's inflicting upon him. And then that Chiron square Neptune, that's dealing with the humiliation involved and the embarrassment and the secrets and the lies and all that stuff. Kirk's Pluto is squaring Carrion's Chiron. And again, that Chiron is conjoined to that Gemini. So it's evident when you see this synastry. I mean, this shit is ugly. It's sad. But again, I'm not surprised, because this shit happens. Now, before I let you go, let me just pull up Kirk Franklin's transits right now, just to see how these planets are tormenting his soul right now, how they are calling him to the carpet. So Kirk, we're just going to look at March 30th, because I don't got time to be pulling a current chart. Plus, this came out like a few days ago with the audio, I believe. Now, he's dealing with a nodal square right now, so it makes sense that he's going through this karmic induced challenge. So the transiting South Node in Sagittarius, remember I said a lot of these church people, they're going to be catching it around this time. South Node Sagittarius squaring his South Node in Virgo, and it hasn't even become exact yet. So he might really have to answer to this molestation charge or allegation at this point. He also has gone through his Chiron return recently, but that was more so maybe last year or the year before. He also has Uranus. What is Uranus doing? Making a quincunx with his natal Uranus. So there it is right there in terms of his truth coming out. Shocking truth coming out. And also where he could be receiving some type of backlash from his fans and followers. He could be losing some fans and followers. That could deal with where he's undergoing some upsetting changes right now. And this could be impacting his marriage because Uranus is in Libra. He could also be consulting with an attorney right now. You best believe he is, to see what he can do to shut his son up. Now, he does have Pluto trine Pluto right now. So Pluto is approaching a trine. So he might publicize this and try to capitalize upon this type of situation. He might end up on Iyanla or Oprah or something and try to cover things up. And he might even be successful with it because it's that trine. And he might say that he's in therapy, but he might say that his son got it confused, that they were a very affectionate family, and his son is dealing with some problems. And yeah, his son might have been abused, but he's not the one that abused him. So expect some type of cover up to happen in the near future. So Kirk Franklin might make another public statement where he's disputing these allegations. Now, Kirk Franklin has Neptune opposing the moon, but again, I don't know what time Kirk Franklin was born, but I would think that opposition is probably even closer because that scandal theme that comes with Neptune, and also the shame, the humiliation, the embarrassment of this coming out, and the video, the audio, all this being on YouTube, all that stuff is playing out right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if his moon was like at the 21st degree instead of that 23rd degree. And that 21st would match him in terms of the religious theme. Let me see if I can see anything else going on. Saturn is approaching a sesqui-square with his Pluto, so that could be the truth being exposed because Saturn's in Aquarius. So yeah, he got it pretty bad going on right now. Jupiter quincunx moon, but again, I'm not sure what degree that moon is at. But yeah, that's what's going down with Kirk Franklin. So instead of Kirk Franklin doing the stomping, his son is stomping his ass right now with these allegations. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be back with some more videos. I'll probably be doing a live stream maybe on Friday or Saturday. So that's something to look forward to. And again, consider becoming a patron, signing up for my Patreon account, because I'll be putting content on there that I am not going to feel comfortable putting on YouTube. And if you would like a reading, you could go to my website at rahbinah.com. Peace, many blessings, and stay clean, y'all.